August 14th, 2024.
August 14th, 2024.
That's when you got your black belt.
Was it the 14th?
If
I don't think that's right.
Okay, August 2024.
August 20th. The reason I know that is because my family guilted me for not going to my grandmother's 90th birthday party that day. And I just had a sneaking suspicion that I was going to get my black belt, but I was not confident in that sneaking suspicion at all. But I was like, I can't potentially miss out on that. Like, I don't, my grandmother's had 89 other birthdays. You know what I mean? Like, I've been to all of them, and I met up with her.
You've been to all of them?
Yeah, I've been to every single. 89. Okay, not all 89, but all 28 that I've been around. I've been to all of them, and in spirit, I was at the other ones. But yeah, no, they gave me a bunch of for it, and so I remember that day not because I got my black belt, but because that's the day my family just decided to turn on me.
What's it like going from because what's his name again? You're the instructor you were under?
Kenneth Brown.
Kenneth Brown.
Yeah.
He said that you started as a white belt at second gear.
Yes.
And then moved up to black belt.
Yes.
How does that progression look like to you? Like from going white belt to blue belt to brown to purple to brown to black?
Honestly, I think a lot of it has to do with like attitude and confidence. Like I started telling myself like very early on that like we're all playing with the same tools. Like you're not worse than me or better than me because of anything other than your mindset. And I don't mean to sound like too like, I don't know what the right word here is, yeah, or anything like that. But like you could just decide that like you're not going to let that work against you because you have something that you're super confident in. And if you just go in with that confidence, like you'll start to see like smaller changes. One of the things that I noticed right now is like when I was a blue belt, everybody wanted to kill me because I was just a blue belt and no one cared. Everyone just like ran through me because I was a blue belt. But like as I started climbing up higher in the ranks, I'm not going to say purple belt, but when I got to brown belt, I could sense there was something different against like my opponents where they just were like, oh, like this brown belt's going to smash me. And now, especially when I get up my black belt, like the most frustrating thing in the world is when I'm about to start a roll and somebody's just like, oh, you're going to kill me. I'm like, just let's let the roll happen. Like, just what are we talking about? Like, maybe or probably, who cares? Just roll with me. You know what I mean? Like, you don't need to make it like this dialogue because you've already lost. The second you said that, I'm like, you're not going to give me your best effort. You're not going to try. You're not going to do the best for yourself. And like some of the killers that I face in the room, like, and I'm not even talking about like the Bobs or the Daves or the Hanis or whoever at Parker, like the blue belts, the ones who don't like give me that or who are just gunning after me, give me the best rolls. They give me the best looks. Purple belts too. Like all of those guys, the brown belts, like the ones who just don't assume that they lost before the round already started are giving me the most work. And it's because it's that mental thing that I was just talking about. Like you can't go into any role assuming you're going to lose. Like, I don't care if you're a blue belt going up against like a Gordon Ryan or a Craig Jones, like go in there and try and win. I mean, don't pop into the B team and like, try and win and like get kicked out or whatever. Don't be a jackass. But if you're going up against somebody that is better than you, like you owe it to them and to yourself to think you have a chance of winning. And you got to strategize that like based off of your skill set. So like if I'm a blue belt, I don't have many moves, right? Maybe you just focus on doing one thing the entire time, whether that be like, just hold me in your close guard. If you have one job, just hold me in your close guard. Don't let me break your guard. And if I do break your guard, have a plan for that. But so many people are just like, oh, we'll see what happens. It's like, you can't do that when you're going against someone who's so much better than you. Like when I go against like a Bob or a Dave who I'm like regularly training with every single night, the nights I try and win, I get destroyed. Like that's when they just toy with me. But the nights where I'm like, all right, I just don't want Bob to do this, and I'm just gonna kind of do what I can, but I'm not gonna try and really like push anything too hard. I'm just gonna try and like take it a little bit easy, see what he gives me, and not get got. I always end up doing a little bit better than what I would have done if I tried to be the instigator on somebody who's a lot better than me. And that's the experience that I've found so far.
Well, I do want to go somewhere with that, but this microphone keeps going down.
Nah. I'm doing a lot better at talking than I thought. I was like, I don't know what I'm going to say.
You're gassed with something.
Dude, I'm telling you, I've had nothing but caffeine all day. I haven't eaten. I'm just ready to go.
When you were talking about all that, it's like when you're a beginner at anything, you have to have that patience to know that the best people have 40 years above you, have 20 years above you, have just more reps into it. But when you're at that black belt level, it's kind of like,
there's something to be said for somebody who can go in there every night regardless and still like, even if they're giving up mentally, like they're still doing it, which is a lot more than like what most people can say, like that they do with their, evenings. It's funny because like sometimes when like I'm injured or like I can't train, I'm just like, I don't understand what people are doing with all their time. Like I can't, like most people I know who don't do jujitsu, like they don't have real hobbies. Like I don't consider lifting to be a hobby. Like it's just like something like
it's like a maintenance.
yeah, it's like maintenance. But I'm like, most people just get off work and then just like go home. Like, what are you guys doing? So whenever I have that experience where I'm just like, I don't know, I can't train, I'm like, I don't know what to do with my time. It's I don't know, it's something interesting. What did you do before jiu-jitsu?
Why are you interviewing me?
I'm just asking you a question. I thought we were supposed to have a conversation.
I know, I was going to ask before I did jiu-jitsu.
Yeah.
Like sports-wise.
Yeah, just like for hobbies.
Well, I did shooting for a little bit. Realized I wasn't really a good shot. So I tried to switch over to something else. And I like jiu-jitsu just because it kind of goes against any fear that I have about someone coming against me and being like, I've got my hands on you. What do I do? It's more like some of the guys that like, especially the newer white belts that I've met, they come here to become like the alpha male, to become, I'm coming into here because I want to become dangerous. And I was like, I came here because I thought there was something new.
Yeah, I mean that's a good mentality to have though. Like if you're coming into the room to try to be the alpha male, like
you're gonna get destroyed.
Yeah, you're just gonna hurt your ego as you leave 2 weeks later. That's why a lot of people I think probably don't last, is like they're trying to be the best too early instead of just kind of like embracing the system. I like the way I fell into jiu-jitsu, like I just decided one day I needed something to be like a little bit more competitive. Because I used to play football and then that kind of like got shut out of my life because I just, kind of walked away from it.
How would you say the difference between team sports and then jiu-jitsu? Because jiu-jitsu is mostly a solo sport.
Yeah, I mean, I've never done a solo sport before. This was the first time I'd ever done a solo sport. And that's honestly one of the things that I really think changed my life, or the trajectory of my life, is like, I always like depended on people so much in my life, like whether it be my parents or like the person I was dating or whatever it was. Like I was always very much so dependent on people, and I attribute that to playing team sports my whole life. But I had never wrestled. I'd never done like a solo sport like that. And I started doing jiu-jitsu and I just started thinking to myself like, whoa, like I can do anything, because I know that I sucked at this at first and now I'm getting better and I see that progress. And I was like, man, I can apply that same logic to anything that I do. So like, that's what gave me the confidence to just start bow hunting. I'm sure that's the same type of energy that you have when you're starting a podcast. Like before you started doing this, you didn't know jack about podcasts, did you? But you just started doing it. I think we live in a world where people think that they need to be the expert before they get started. Like, I don't know who's to blame for that one, but like sometimes you just got to put yourself out there on something that you are interested in or something that you want to do and see where it takes you. Like you said, like you were doing the shooting that led you to jiu-jitsu, which maybe led you to this conversation here. Maybe that's what you're supposed to do. But if you were one of those people who just sat on their couch and never tried anything because you were, afraid of failing, or you just didn't want to put yourself out there, or you didn't want to jump in before becoming the expert, then you just wasted your entire life.